I'd like to welcome you all to this launch of a very important report, Equal Before the Law, Towards Disability Justice Strategy. Commissioner Innes travelled around the country holding public meetings and consulting far and wide, and as he did so, patterns of discrimination started to emerge, and it became clear that people with disabilities are often viewed as not credible, not capable of giving evidence, or unable to participate in legal proceedings. As a result, many are left without protection from ongoing violence, amongst other negative outcomes.
The primary aim of our consultations prior to the preparation of this report was to hear the voices of Australians with disabilities, particularly those with complex support or communication needs. We certainly met with others, but our primary intention was to hear and share those stories. And so it's therefore appropriate that we hear from two such people who are also well qualified to speak due to their involvements with disability organisations and in the justice sector.
The criminal justice system can be very, very frightening, an extremely frightening experience for anyone, whether they have a disability or not. People with a disability in the criminal justice system face a tremendous amount of barriers, and they're quite varied in terms of what they have to face. But I think the ability, if you don't have the ability to communicate, it can be a much more daunting experience for you. And those barriers are enormous. And then, if you add the complexities of the system, which is really a maze for people to navigate, from dealing with the police, going through the court system, and then being released and going back into the community, it is so overwhelming.
Sadly, I suspect for those of us who have worked around this issue for many years, this report bears no surprises. Access to the criminal justice system for people with disability, particularly those needing communication supports and people who have complex and multiple support needs, is basically non-existent. Violence against this group of people is seldom prosecuted or even brought to the attention of police. I would like you to imagine for a second you have just been sexually assaulted. You cannot speak. You do not have a communication device, nor do you have access to an independent communication support worker. This means you are unable to tell anyone what has happened to you. You are unable to call or visit a police station to report the incident. You are trapped within your own silence. Violence against people with disability is often covered up by the service systems that are designed to support them.
Australians with disabilities, particularly those with communication challenges or complex support needs, do not receive equal treatment in our criminal justice system. This is true whether they are victims, witnesses, or alleged offenders. This results in a number of things. Negative outcomes, including increased chance of being victims of violence. Difficult experiences with police. Lack of time and understanding in the court system. Higher rates of incarceration and higher likelihood of longer time in jail and reoffending. This is a problem for all of us. Not only is more damage done to people with disabilities who have negative experiences in the justice system, but because such people spend longer time there and are not dealt with appropriately, it increases the cost to the whole community. The problems cannot continue. 90% of Australian women with intellectual disability have been subjected to sexual abuse. Just think about that, 90%. There are currently at least 20 to 30 people in our prison systems who, just like Marlon, have not been convicted of an offence. They've been found unfit to plead, and jails are the only accommodation option. From 1989 to 2011, 105 people were shot by police, and 42% of those people had a mental illness. Sadly, the Human Rights Commission has not found the silver bullet. I wish we had. Our report lists programs and services currently in place which provide better access to the criminal justice system for people with disabilities. And it proposes the development of disability justice strategies in each state or territory. If someone is a victim of a crime, Australians would expect the system to respond. If someone seeks to give evidence in court, Australians would expect that to be facilitated. And if someone is accused of a crime, Australians would expect them to receive fair and equal treatment. Our criminal justice system is not meeting those expectations for people with disabilities. That must change. I'm pleased to launch this Australian Human Rights Commission report and trust that it sets a foundation for better justice pathways in the future. Thank you very much.